Imagine with me for a moment that you can suddenly and magically remember your last conversation with God before you came to planet Earth. You are still in your formless essence, your soul, and here you are having your bodysuit wardrobe meeting. God invites you in and ta-da! Shows you infinite variety of human bodysuits. And here you are looking through different skin complexion, height, hair color, eye color, your sex, your face structure that you'd like to choose. And God reminds you that you are about to enter planet Earth, the planet of visibles, where your bodysuit, what you look like on the outside, tends to matter more than who you truly are on the inside, the invisibles. Hopefully that changes in 2022. But until then, what you look like might determine how much power you have, how much respect you might get, how beautiful you are seen as, how much wealth you might accumulate, even how trustworthy you are as a human being. And then that your purpose will be to remember who you truly are despite these visible challenges. So here we are in year 2022 in the very bodysuit that we chose to come here with. One bodysuit per one lifetime. And welcome to my deep dive. My name is SaEun, and I'd like to take us on a journey to looking at who we are on the inside, the invisible parts of us, to remember who we truly are. So I want to begin by sharing my most recent peak moment in life, which is in 2018. I am feeling that I'm at the top of my third dream career. I had just discovered Montreal, Quebec, Canada as my dream city. I had been traveling around from city to city dating as a digital nomad, wanting to find a society and a culture where I felt like home, as who I had become as a result of this global nomadic life. And here, I wanted to settle and unpack all of who I am and begin building my dream life. That global nomadic life, the family in global transition, comes with lots of challenges and lots of skills and privileges. And prayers do get answered. And so whatever dream that I had, I achieved my dreams. Every single one of them. And yet there was one big problem, which is that every time I'm at the peak of achieving my dream, peak of my life, and that joy, that ecstasy, that fulfillment that I was looking for would only be short-lived, and I would catch myself wondering, what's next? Where do I go from here? And so this peak moment in 2018, I was so sure that this had to be it. And yet, lo and behold, that sense of fulfillment was only short-lived once again. You see, what I realized is that fulfillment, it's something that is inside us, that comes from inner us, which can't be filled by the externals, the visibles. And I simply felt cornered, like I had nowhere else to go, because I had tried everything and I have everything right in front of my eyes, and yet I didn't feel contentment. And therefore, I was guided. I had to go to the broken parts of me. You see, I was born in South Korea, which is where I'm standing right now. And when I turned 2, my mother got on her very first flight ever from here to Saudi Arabia to meet my father, who's also Korean, who was waiting for us in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And little did we know that that 13, 14-hour flight was going to basically birth us into my new identity in the rest of my life as feeling like a misfit, feeling misunderstood in this world of visibles. Because how can anybody, just by looking at me, ever guess that there is more of Saudi Arabia in me in terms of life experience than South Korea? And so a big part of me continues to feel unseen, unheard, misunderstood. And as I began to listen to the broken parts of me, the parts of me that feels like a misfit, what it was saying is that I felt that I'm in the wrong body, that I'm in the wrong family, because I kept changing through new cultures, new languages, new travels, further and further away from my family of origin. In the wrong city, because I always was missing the previous. And sometimes in the wrong planet, especially after having looked and worked so hard and still not having found that sense of fulfillment. And so listening to the broken parts of me became perhaps the most important thing for me in my life. With the help of a therapist, life coach, somatic experiencing, healers, counselors, pastors, best friend, my journal, and lots of wonderful books. And I have attached a PDF sheet called Inner Diversity Map. Perhaps now is the time to take a look at it. If you have it printed in front of you, the first page is basically showing you an example of my looking inward and mapping out my inner diversity. So it's an example. And then the second page is a blank canvas for you with the iceberg drawing on it, for you to reflect on the outer parts of you around the tip of the iceberg, and then the inner parts of you underwater. For me, as I mapped and continue to look inward to my inner diversity, and the Third Culture Kid Bible, the book Third Culture Kids Growing Up Among Worlds, described this so well. There was so much unresolved grief in me for just simply not having known when the goodbyes were truly goodbyes. And I couldn't have known that. I left my parents and my brothers, that cocoon that I grew up in Saudi Arabia at age 13, to join an international boarding school in Austria. I couldn't have known that that was going to be the moment I leave my family as we knew ourselves to be, as who I was back then. And with this map of inner diversity, as well as what I look like and show on the outside, as well as what my achievements are also visible parts of me, I began to get curious about the invisible parts of me that are well represented, well expressed in the visible world. And I circled around those. Then the remaining question was, what's going on with the invisible parts of me that are kept invisible, that are kept hidden, perhaps, especially those that feel unseen, unheard, misunderstood, ignored, suppressed. What is going on there? I had to ask the why. See, what I realized is that there was unconscious, internalized system of patriarchy, colonial, global powers, world war, oppression in charge of who of me that I show in the visible world and who of me stay quiet, stay invisible. In other words, the voices in me that are more colored, more non-Anglophone, diverse languages such as Korean, and feminine, just creative, the non-conforming parts of all of me had been hidden, ignored, not listened to, suppressed, for me to express more of the dominant, accepted professional voice, which is mimicking the white, masculine, Anglophone voice, what that represents in our global modern day history. So then I began to really look into why. What is truly going on in here that keeps me in this self-harming programming, a way of behaving that really gives me this such deep sense of pain, this like feeling like I have a hole inside. And therefore it took me around the world looking for something. And here I was, I really wanted to feel at peace with who I am. And when I looked, what I realized is that it was only 30 years ago, the cells in this bodysuit, was badly beaten, physically abused for not getting an A in English, for pronouncing some English word in a way that wasn't American, for not getting into the one American international school that was available to us in Saudi Arabia. Just putting all this effort and determination to make me more American, more white, more Anglophone. Well, it was only, 70 some years ago, there was Korean War. It's actually a proxy war between global powers. Cold War, right here on this land where I am in South Korea. But for my father, what he experienced is fear, immense amount of fear and starvation, suffering. He didn't even have enough money to go to school. And what did he see? He saw that these white, masculine, Anglophone beings, American soldiers, are here to save us, to bring us salvation from this devastating situation. His cells, his DNA, gets a programming through this trauma that English, white, equals food, safety, success. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't need these basic human needs? And the question is, why is there beating around a language? Well, let's go back only 110 years ago. The DNA in my body. My Korean grandparents, what did they live through? Colonial rule. And during that time, they were in public, in private, badly shamed and beaten, physically abused, if they didn't speak the language of the colonizer. And we human race are an organism that replicates. We repeat what we learn. Unless we consciously decide to look at ourselves and reprogram the parts of us that are truly self-harming. Whatever bodysuit you are wearing, beautiful. Whatever style you have that you love to express, amazing. The achievements that you've enjoyed, congratulations. Let's celebrate them. And if there's any part of us that's unconsciously programmed, that when you look at your map of who you are, your inner diversity, if there are parts of you that are being kept hidden, unexpressed, shushed, staying quiet, because of this system of oppression that is living inside you, then let us remember that we are the master programmer. We can change our programs. We can change our system by remembering who we truly are, by looking at our inner diversity and remembering what our body has lived through, what history, and getting curious about what systems are still intact, at play in how I make my day-to-day decisions. It is only when I chose to look inward and to get curious about the feeling of pain and loneliness and misfit that I began to truly feel a sense of connection, a sense of really seeing all parts of me, and I became more spacious, a space where all of who I am can simply be, like home. And when I became home to all of who I am in my body and on this beautiful planet, I could see a kind of light shining through that what once was just a dark hole. From this dark hole to being able to see that there is light shining through. And as I step into expressing all of who I am, you might be able to see that there are more colors to you, and they are beautiful. Thank you.